Paresh, thank you very much for being here with us. You've been working in growth strategy and innovation for over 25 years, and about half of that time you've been working for Vodafone. Can you please tell us a bit about the work that you do as Vodafone's Group Head of Innovation?
I head up innovation at Vodafone, and what that really means is driving collaboration to bring new ideas for new products and new services to our customers that delivers great value, fantastic experiences, and an ability to really enjoy the whole Vodafone experience, whether it's fixed, mobile, TV, or whatever the customer is doing. So for me, it's all around how do we bring startups, academics, some of our great partners together to build new products and services that make a material difference to our customers' lives.
Thank you, Paresh. In a recent innovation study, we have found that innovation is becoming more widespread. What I mean by this is that it's more widespread in terms of type and also in terms of focus. Type because companies are moving beyond incremental innovation and they're innovating also on the more complex types, more radical innovation. And at the same time, they are innovating on a broader focus. They are not only going for the new businesses, they are doing this in their legacy, their growth, and their emerging businesses. Another thing we've found is that innovation investment allocation is not as strategic as we thought it should be. Because the legacy businesses, which are the oldest and most mature businesses, are receiving the lion's share of innovation investment. What that means is that the smaller, newer and high potential businesses in the portfolio are not receiving the innovation investment nor the management attention that they should for them to thrive. So I wanted to ask you if this is something that you have seen, and why do you think that smaller businesses in the portfolio are receiving a disproportionately smaller amount of innovation investment and attention?
It's quite often that the legacy business need innovating much more radically than just to create new businesses, because sometimes it's better to serve our customers with an evolution and a better version of what we already did, as opposed to throw everything away and create something from new, which is the way I think a lot of corporates think. A lot of corporates will think, we know intimately what our customers want. We know very well that there is innovation going on out there and perhaps we're being disrupted. So you've got the choice. Do you throw away what you had and start from scratch, which clearly in most cases isn't possible because you have customers that are relying on your service? Or do you make what you've got and evolve it into a much better product service? And the way we work at Vodafone is actually a lot more of the latter. We know what our customers want. We have very strong insights into what they want. We'll bring collaboration partners in to create new disruptive technology that we would put on top of or evolving from what we already have. And then we will drive new experiences as a result of that. And the customer will feel the difference because they'll be getting better service. Maybe it's cheaper, maybe it's faster, maybe it's something new that they never had before. So that's our experience. Yes, we do invest in the new, of course we do, but it's always, it's a tough thing to start something from scratch and hope that you can scale it to millions of customers. In many ways, it's harder to do that.
When we started this research, we asked ourselves, how can companies better allocate their innovation investments so that they could increase or maximize financial performance in a more structured way? And we thought that potentially innovation governance could be an enabler. So we asked companies, and what we found is that only 10% of companies are setting the ground for ideas to flourish, to be selected, to be tested, and to be scaled into commercial realities. But at the same time, we found that 80% of companies believe that for them to meet their growth ambitions in the next 5 years, they will have to govern innovation more extensively. So I wanted to ask you, in your experience, what do you think will happen to innovation governance in the next 5 years?
Innovation governance is a complex topic because it's not like any other governance. The way we see it is that we need to encourage innovation, which means massive engagement across an organization. The only way you can have massive engagement across an organization is to have very light governance at the outset in the funnel creation. And but even creating that big funnel is a big job. So to have too much governance is a no-no. So you should let ideas roll, and we should be encouraging people to come forward. Then I think in terms of the rest of the governance, we should have a really fast filter, and we do at Vodafone, really fast filter of how you bubble up the best ideas that could really serve your customers' needs. And in our case, because 70% of our revenue is from consumer customers, many of our products go to hundreds of millions of customers in one go. So they've got to be good and they've got to be right. You can't just test these things very easily in small cohorts. So to us, there is a very strict governance process at the sharp end, at the last part of identifying what are the solutions, what can we really make work, what works with customers, and what can we roll out there. So in my mind, the governance should be extremely light at the outset. It should be extremely rigorous in terms of filtering and ideation of companies that we can work with, partners that we can work with, and solutions we can bring at the sharp end. And but even at the sharp end, you still need to enable fast turnaround. So we're transforming our business to agile. All of our products and services now are through through the sprint process and through agile at scale. We've got something like 3,000 people, 4,000 people across our footprint who are working in squads. So that's important. Where we bring in partners, we need to put them through the procurement process really quickly. That's a big pain point that many of our startup partners have identified. And what we do there is we have a 7-day onboarding process and a 21-day payment term for startups where they are small companies, innovation-led companies. So we put in the conditions in place, and we think that last bit of innovation governance is really important. It's different type of governance to what you would normally expect in a normal gating process, but there is sharp governance at the end because there has to be.
You touched on something interesting. Some business leaders believe that innovation governance, if not done well, can hamper innovation. So if you were to focus on one particular stage in the innovation process, where do you think that innovation governance needs to be done with the most discipline?
It's super important that at the outset, if you're going to put a new product or solution or service into market, that you have the right experts involved very early on. Because quite often what enterprises do is they might have an ideation factory or an incubator or a think tank or something that will come up with the most amazing ideas, and then they'll try and drop them on the business owners. And sometimes it works because there's some work that's been done up front and it saves the time for the business owners who are busy running their business. But more often it fails because it wasn't invented by them. They weren't involved in the process. To me, that's a new way of thinking about how do we engage business owners and how do we drive the governance early on. And then once they're involved, you make sure that they have enough capacity, headroom, budget in order to be able to drive the experimental activities in parallel to running their business. Okay, so what you can't do is hope that they can make their business as usual targets and drive the performance that the company expects at the same time as driving innovation for the longer term that's going to deliver value maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years time, on the same budget and same kind of resource pool that they might have. So it's really important that the business owners, where there are strategic priorities, they're given the headroom and the freedom in order to be able to actually evolve the products and services for themselves. And then in the end, they are the owners. They're the ones that have delivered the service, but they are also the experts that already have a service. So you really want them to be a part of that whole building process from start to finish.
Paresh, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.